Hey,
Hey, everybody.
there we go.
Hi, I am running this ship today, everybody. Sorry. Hi, welcome to the Gamers Roast podcast. I am your usually co-host turned host today, Wesley Lance, and next to me in the virtual studio is Aaron Piper,
Aaron.
who I
Yeah.
was expecting to introduce himself, but then didn't. So then I just
Well,
went ahead and did it
normally
anyway.
Josh introduces you,
He
so
goes back and forth. No, you're right. He normally does say
Mhm.
alongside me, Wesley Lance, and then I say something stupid.
Yep.
So in
I just
case
didn't
you
say
are
anything at all.
in case you're unaware, Josh is in the middle of moving, so he wasn't exactly able
Ooh.
to record to stream. I guess stream is now how we're saying it because we're not really recording, even though we are. Anyway, he
Yep.
wasn't available this week, so we had
Nope.
Aaron back, and
He is lame.
I for one am very excited because the last time Aaron and I did a show, it was one of the craziest episodes we've ever had. So
It was interesting. Now, mind you, we were in person, so we'll see
yeah,
how that
that's
goes.
true. It does affect the energy a little bit.
So I'm
But
just sitting here. Sorry, I'm thinking. This is my dog brain here. Have you ever seen the little short where the bird goes daytime, nighttime,
nighttime,
daytime,
nighttime. Yes.
nighttime?
Oh, you've got a lamp. Okay.
I got a lamp right here, so I was flipping it on and off while we're waiting for the video, and my head just went, "Yep."
I was straight up grooving to that intro music.
Oh yeah,
I get more into it every week as I learn more and more of the lyrics, and eventually I will be able to perform that song. I'm pretty sure.
I need to listen to the lyrics or listen to it like fully because I was running to the kitchen. I was inhaling spaghetti while I
That
was
sounds dangerous.
yeah. So I was
All
like,
right.
all right, I got a few minutes. Let's.
Well, let's get into it. I,
Yeah.
for one, am actually really excited about our coffee this week because, first of all, I just brewed it and it smells amazing. Uh, and secondly, it came from a little adventure that Michaela and I went on this
So
weekend. So
I French press.
I just did my little thing. So
Smells good.
Michaela and I decided for our 4th anniversary, we wanted to do something a little bit special. So we actually drove all the way to the strange exotic land of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and just toured the city. We rented a couple of the city bikes, went around, and one of the things we did was we toured the Pabst Mansion. And if the name Pabst sounds like it should be associated with a different kind of beverage, you're right. That is the same Pabst that is famous for the Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Captain
Hmm.
Pabst was a famous brewer that settled in Milwaukee. We get to tour his mansion, and one of the things they sold at the mansion, along with a bunch of other Pabst products, including beer, was this Pabst coffee.
All right.
So this is I'm gonna go ahead and put it up here. It's the same company, or allegedly same family that brews Pabst beer. So hopefully it didn't taste like beer, but it smells really good.
It
So
smells great. So
this is our coffee this week.
I don't actually have a coffee grinder. So when you gave me the whole beans, I was like, how am I supposed to do this? So Sydney actually had to go to her parents' house to grind the coffee. And when I pulled in from work, about the same time she pulled in, and she's like, you have to smell this. It smells so good. So
Huh?
I used about half of it, and
Why does nobody
I
own
was
a
gonna
coffee grinder? I
see
only drink whole. I only buy it whole bean. I can't
see
do pre-ground.
if you look at so this is actually not even a real French press. So it has Alice in Wonderland because it's for tea. I drink tea,
Oh,
so
okay. I
yeah,
didn't know you could French press tea.
yeah. So what you do is you get like the loose tea leaves and stuff,
Yeah,
and you put it in there, and then it just pushes it. It steeps and does the same thing. So
interesting. Well,
yeah,
I'm
but
excited
that's
to try this stuff. This stuff smells absolutely amazing. Makes my probably one of the best smelling coffees I think we've had. So
oh, it smells great. Now I will say I used about half of what you gave me, and I've let it steep for a while, and it's still pretty see through. So
yeah, I go with a full 3 tablespoons, regardless of the coffee I use, unless it's
okay,
super dark. So
all right, let's
here
give
goes
it.
nothing.
I'll try to give it a. Ooh, wow, that's a.
Mm. Ooh, that's good stuff. What do you not?
It's not.
Wait, what was?
It's not bitter, so it threw me off because I was expecting that bite and the bitter, but it wasn't. It was
It's not there.
No, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe. You're better at describing the coffee flavors than I am.
Yeah, it has so. Oh boy, this is gonna be bad. I might drink this whole thing tonight, and then I'm gonna be up all night. Oh, this tastes so good. Um, it's a very smooth flavor. There's no sourness or bitterness going down. It has so. I'm gonna give it
I wonder.
probably the highest compliment that I can give it if you've been watching the show for at all times. This tastes really close to the Three Avocados, like that level of aftertaste and smoothness going down. This is it's not quite as flavorful. I wouldn't say it's quite as flavorful as Three Avocados, but it's probably the closest we've gotten. Now, it's a little more expensive than Three Avocados. Three Avocados was $12 for 16. So no, sorry, $12 for 12 ounces, about $1 an ounce. This was $16 for 12 ounces. I didn't have to pay shipping, but I did have to drive to Milwaukee. So,
I mean, that was kind
give
of
and take.
yeah. I will say I think it might be better normally brewed, that or left in the press just a little bit longer to sit in the, because it mine tastes very watered down, and again I think that's because I did the French press, and I only used 8 ounces of water, so
Yeah, I don't really know how to use a French press. I've actually been meaning to get an AeroPress. I've heard those things are really good.
I've heard that as well. I can't give it a fair rating because mine kind of tastes like a metal spoon. So I have to get past that flavor first. But I will say this is the first coffee I've ever had that doesn't because I don't like black coffee. Well,
Right.
But if I made this right, I could drink it black.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the bite. It doesn't have the bitterness, and it's actually So
it's got a really full body, bold taste. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna put up our little rating scale here. Which while we're doing it, I have to correct a grave error from last week. I put that Intelligentsia coffee at I think I put it at what did I put it at? At an 8. And you know what? I drank it the next day, and it was gross. It was sour. It was really not good. I'm moving it down to like a 6. I'm gonna go with a solid. Like it's not bad, but it's not good. And in its stead, I'm putting Pabst at an 8. It is not quite at the level of Three Avocados, but it's as close as we've gotten, and it smells great.
I'm trying something. I'm gonna pour this back in the French press. I'm gonna let it sit there for a little bit longer.
I'm going to drink this whole thing. I'm not going to sleep tonight, which is great because I'm going to try to get up and work out early in the morning. So I'm going to hate myself.
Hey, there you go. So I'll let you go first on rating because I
already rated it. Put it at an 8.
Oh,
that was an 8. Easy for me.
So this is going to be really shocking because, guy who doesn't like coffee, I'm going to put it at 7.5.
Really?
Yeah, because it is actually, if I made it right, I think I would actually really enjoy one of these. Because I want to try the Three Avocados. You guys have talked that thing up. I want to try that.
I'm worried. I'm worried we've talked it up to the point that if people actually tried it, that it's going to fall short and they're not going to like it as much as I did.
I mean, you guys did say that it was up there with the, what is it, the Kaikopi?
I think it is. I just think it has a really full-bodied. I've been meaning to buy more, but I've cut back on my coffee consumption lately, so it takes me forever. This will last me probably 2 months. I make coffee maybe once or twice a week, so I never buy it anymore because usually we buy coffee for this thing. So I still have the Death Wish coffee, which was not my favorite. No.
Yeah.
It was okay. So anyway, Pabst coffee, actually highly recommend. It's not the most cost-effective coffee we've ever had. I still think best bang for your buck is Three Avocados. $12 for 12 ounces. And if you can actually get it in a 2-pack, so you only pay shipping once. I usually do that. I get the Nicaraguan and the decaf. And that's still by far probably the best coffee you can get for a reasonable price. If you're used to spending $5 for a pound of coffee at Starbucks, you're good. That's going to sting a little bit. But when it comes to actual really good crafted coffee, That's probably the best you can get. Speaking of which, this is not completely off topic. While Michaela and I were in Milwaukee, I actually got to go to an honest to goodness coffee bar for the first time in my life. And when I say coffee bar,
Ooh.
I mean like stools next to like a bar with stools. You go up, the barista hands you a menu of all the craft coffees they've got. I got a pour over, $6 for a cup of pour over coffee.
They had a coffee bar on the Disney cruise ship that we went on, and we didn't actually get to use it because we didn't know about it until like the last night. But I've always wanted to try. I mean, because if you get like real coffee from a coffee bar, it's gonna be good. Like there's a reason
Yeah.
that you're paying the price. There is. I keep seeing them. So Josh and I, this is gonna sound strange because I don't like coffee anymore. Or yeah, we used to before church get the shots of espresso. We used to put it like a
Yeah.
pump of mocha. Well, when you see a shot of espresso, it's has that black. It's black like and I've been seeing on like TikTok and other things that a good shot of espresso has almost like a cream color to
The
it.
crema. Yeah, it's called the
Yeah,
crema.
yeah, and it looks oh my goodness. Every time I see it, I'm just like I want to try that.
Espresso is its own beast, man. In fact,
Oh
the
yeah.
way to drink espresso is they brew it. You're supposed to throw it back within 30 seconds of it being brewed. You
Yep.
wait any longer, it's not good.
A
It starts
guy
breaking down that quickly.
there's a guy who shows you put it in. He has like um this little device that almost looks like one of those head scratchers, little metal head scratchers
Mhm.
that he uses it to and what it does is it um stirs it around and it gets out all the little air bubbles and stuff before he presses it down. And then
Ooh.
there's like a grate that goes on, and if you do it right, instead of just having a single drip come out, the entire thing will start to drip the coffee. It'll come to like one stream, and it just it looks so good.
Coffee is its own world, man. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
weird. I've always wanted to try like actual Italian espresso. Um, just once. I've never gotten to try it yet. But yeah, at that coffee bar, it was like $6 for a pour over, but it was one of the only coffees that actually like tasted like it said on the bag. Like the barista was going over, she's like, it's got like citrus, it's got like chocolate notes, and I drank it. I was like, oh wow, no, this actually has a little bit of a like sour in a good way. Like some coffees have a sour note and that just doesn't taste good, but this was
Yeah.
like a really acidic, but like in a nice way. I don't know. It was good stuff.
I
Michaela says that sounds very satisfying to watch the espresso brewing.
Oh yeah, it was. I think if I so my mom always drank um the half calf Folgers. That's all she would ever brew.
Oh, Folgers.
So I wonder if that's the reason that I'm not a big fan of coffee. Maybe
Yeah, no, Folgers
because
is not great.
no. And my stepdad, he got Pete's coffee, and he would always
Mm,
get the Major Dickinson's Pete's coffee.
yeah,
He would always get
pizza's
it.
good.
He would always get it where he ground it, and he used it that same day. And and when he likes his coffee strong,
Yeah,
and oh my goodness, it was good. I could tolerate that.
we've swapped over to pizza at the office. We were using Big B for a while. I don't mind
Okay.
Big B, but actually now that we've swapped over to pizza, I can taste the difference.
Have,
Pizza's a good brand.
have you ever
All
been to
right.
Pete's Coffee House? Like an actual like because there's Starbucks, but
Yeah.
then there's
No, I actually went to one when I was in Chicago a couple years ago. I think I got
okay.
like a it wasn't a latte. It was just coffee with milk and honey. Like
Okay.
but it wasn't a latte. I don't know. It was good. I remember really liking it.
We went to the first one that they made in Portland, Oregon. So
Yep.
and it was
West
like
Coast
a
is the first place.
yep. Oh, it was so cool because it was like a little museum as well, and you got to watch them make the like roast the coffee and stuff. It was cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
So,
Also, Zeal,
so
yeah, it's good to be back. Sorry, I just saw your comment. Good to be back. It's nice to be here. So, all right, we got to keep moving if we're gonna.
sorry. Yeah.
You sent me like 8 articles, and I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to do this. So let's go ahead and hop on over to the roast of the week, which
Ba-da-da-da.
has to do with PS Plus. So
Yeah.
this is pushsquare.com. Oh no. This is the headline. Oh no,
Oh no.
some PS1 games on PS5, PS4 look to be PAL 50 hertz versions. Uh okay, so actually I'm going to read the article and then there's an update after this. So this is the original
Yeah.
article. After the disappointing launch of the PS Classic, which unfortunately used PAL 50Hz ROMs as opposed to the superior NTSC 60Hz versions, many had hoped that Sony wouldn't repeat the same mistake. However, with Asia beginning to get its hands on the new tiers of PS Plus today, we're beginning to learn a little more about the platform holder's retro support. And unfortunately, when it comes to Ape Escape at least, it's using the PAL release, in Indonesia at least. Twitter user The Marmalade captured the above comparison, noting the slower gameplay of Sony's emulated version compared to the NTSC copy played on a CRT. Of course, before we all lose our minds over this, it's important to note that this has only been spotted for one game thus far. And while we appreciate the source materials side by side, it's not exactly scientific, is it? Of course, Sony has released the inferior PAL 50Hz ROMs before, so we can certainly envision it doing the same again. Perhaps this comes down to some kind of licensing issue rather than incompetence. Maybe those of you in America will get the better NTSC versions while the rest of us play like peasants. All will hopefully be confirmed in the next month or so. And then the update is, it appears there'll be an aspect of lottery over which ROM Sony uses for its retro PS1 emulation on PS5 and PS4. While as reported below, Ape Escape is using the PAL 50Hz version, other games like Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Toy Story 2, and Tekken 2 are using NTSC 60Hz. Your mileage may vary then.
So then
So
why are they doing a lotto system? Why don't they just release them all in 60?
so that's what's difficult is we're not sure. This feels like a WSN instead or a WSD instead of a WND, a weird Sony decision.
It's like,
They
yeah.
went so it could be licensing, it could be what they have access to. For those of you unaware with terminology, hertz is basically refresh rate. So think of it as like a frame rate. Like 60 hertz is basically 60 FPS, 50 hertz is 50 FPS. PAL regions like Europe use 50 hertz as their refresh rate, whereas we in the US and North America, not just the US, North America in general, use 60. Has been one of the big sticking points for. Sorry, I'm hearing an echo. Is that you or is that me?
It might be me. Hold on, let me turn down my.
Okay, I'll just keep talking. So that's been one of the big sticking points between regions. And as the article mentioned, when Sony released the PS Classic, they used the 50 hertz versions, which run slower and choppier than the 60 hertz versions.
Is that better? Sorry.
Yes, that's much better.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why. Like Press Square was saying, it could be licensing issues. It could be any number of things. It could just be Sony being cheap, which is weird because they own both. I assume that they own both ROMs.
It's like, hey, we want you to play these games, but we don't want you to play these games.
We want you to play the games, but we want you to play the worst version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No, and I just can't get over the lotto factor because, like, if they have the technology to do it for other games, like, why wouldn't they? No, okay. Yeah. So is it just okay? The older games, and obviously I know. Is it like the difference between PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games that are going to be, because it just says older games, right?
Well, PS1, so but Oddworld was also on PS1. And I think Toy Story 2 was also on PS1. And they're saying those are in 60. So I don't even think it's necessarily PS1 versus PS2.
Gotcha. Because that would at least make sense if it was, the PlayStation 1 versus PlayStation 2.
But... Robert, you're very funny. Sorry, Robert says Josh looks different.
Yeah. And I got a new background. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my new house. New voice.
New voice, new
better
everything.
Looking. Definitely better looking.
So anyway, I just wanted to roast Sony for being weird with their licensing and like going with inferior. Hopefully it's just maybe it's part of the rollout. But still, even if you're rolling out a new service, go with your best stuff. Don't use the inferior versions. What are you doing?
Because they're wanting this to be. I mean, okay, so they're wanting this to be a compatible versus the Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah, they're wanting it to be a competitor, clearly.
So if you're gonna have if it's gonna be a competitor, then why not? Because start with your best. Because I can understand like the updates and stuff. Oh, but it almost feels like they're not trying. I don't know.
Sony's weird. Sony is a weird company. They've got this weird like sort of like holier than thou complex. Like
Yeah.
they pulled out of E3 like 5 or 6 years ago and have never gone back. They always
Yeah.
do their own state of play. They don't do really cross-platform. They've just got this weird like we make fun of Nintendo for holding a lot of the same kind of philosophy of just like, well, it's our property and we're going to do whatever we want with it, which I mean, fair. They own the property. We can't like demand anything of them, but it's just it feels like they're going against their own interests when it comes to releasing these things for people to play.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't understand it. But anyway, so way to go, Sony.
Good job.
If you're going to compete with Game Pass, you got to do better from the get-go. I
Well,
am totally going to regret this decision. I just drank that whole cup. I'm not sleeping tonight. Great.
I just put it into. It tastes a lot better after I let it, seep for a little bit longer.
Normally I put it in a jar and I like refrigerate it and have it as an iced coffee in the morning after,
Ooh.
but this just tasted too good. So I'm not sleeping tonight. Yay, I'm excited.
I am sipping because I definitely have to sleep tonight because my work. But moving on,
Yes.
Speaking of Game Pass and PlayStation competing, June is definitely going to be a big thing coming up for PlayStation Network. So I think you guys have talked about it before.
I think we've mentioned it once or twice.
All right, so PlayStation subscription is definitely changing for those you guys who have PlayStation. So I'm going to be reading an article here from CNET. PlayStation owners will have their own version of Xbox Game Pass in June. Well, kind of. Sony said earlier this month that its PlayStation Plus subscription service will be changing on June 13th to incorporate its separate cloud gaming services. PS Now. Whether you just got a PS5 or a longtime PS4 owner, this is what you need to know about the service change. So I'm just going to kind of go into the services. So right now there's going to be 3 tiers. There's going to be essential, there's going to be extra, and there's going to be premium. So essential is basically the basic PS tier. It costs $10 a month or $60 for the year. This tier is largely the same as the old PS Plus and includes 2 monthly download games, store discounts, cloud save, and online multiplayer. So
yeah, so that's
not
PS
changing
Plus.
much. So, and anybody who has PS Plus right now will automatically on June 13th be switched over to PlayStation Essential. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Next tier is extra.
PS Extra.
Yep. So this is going to include the exact same stuff as Essential, but it's going to add up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games available for downloading. This catalog, 400. So it's going to have a lot of games. And it actually has some pretty big name titles. So catalog includes first and third party games, including Death Standing, God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, Returnal. So I mean, it has.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Returnal. I think it's like a Metroidvania.
I just, to be honest with you, just heard about it in this article, so I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah,
but I know what. So God of War, I know right now with God of War, or at least with the PlayStation 5, that was already included. So when you got PlayStation 5, you set it up, and it was like, you get the PlayStation hits. So
right.
Anything that was
it was like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War,
Ratchet and Clank, God of War, but none of the Spider-Mans were on it. And I've always wanted to play the Spider-Man, but I know that I didn't know what I would think of it, so I didn't want to spend the $60 to get the game and just kind of be like, eh.
It's really good. Sorry, it's really good. Like it's worth the $60. It's a great game. That's what
I've heard.
Let me put it this way. I don't platinum games. It's never worth it to me. It's just it's too much effort. I platinumed Spider-Man.
Wow.
I liked it that much. I got every single trophy in that game.
Wow.
Yeah. So
did you play Miles Morales?
I didn't play Miles Morales mainly because I felt stupid buying a PS4 version of a PS5 game. It just feels dumb to buy a downgraded version.
Okay.
And I am not planning on upgrading to a PS5 anytime soon with my Series S.
Yeah.
So if I ever get around to getting a PS5, maybe 1 or 2 years from now, I will pick it up because I want more Spider-Man. That's just it's a great. I love the games, but I don't really have a way to play it right now because I don't want to play it on PS4. That just seems dumb.
I actually heard that Miles Morales felt like a half game because originally it was supposed to be. I don't know if you knew this or not. It was supposed to be DLC for Spider-Man. It was
I've
supposed to
heard
be.
from what I've seen, it looks more like a side story.
Yeah, and it is. So I have a coworker of mine who played Spider-Man, and he was like, "Dude, I loved it. It was great. Kind of got me piqued my interest." And then he played Spider-Man, and he was like, "I beat it in a day." He's like,
Yeah.
it was. He said it didn't feel like a full game. The story went by super quick. He said with Spider-Man, I had time to explore. With Miles, it just took and it the story went so quick. And he said, and
Oh,
after you're done with the main story, you can still explore, but at the same time, he's like, what's the point? He's not the type of
right,
person who will, beat a game and then go back through and get all the hidden areas.
right. Normally, I'm not either, but I did for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I understand that. Well, then it's probably a good fit for this streaming service though, because then you
yeah,
can just play it. That's so this is we're not going to talk about this, but as I was doing research for stuff to talk about, I saw a lot of people talking about Game Pass burnout. Basically in the wake of Starfield's delay, a lot of people are canceling Game Pass because they're like, I don't have any new games to
yeah,
play on Game Pass. That's the reason they do it, is to get AAA games.
yeah.
For me, that's not why I use Game Pass. I actually use it to have these shorter experiences that I can play and be done with. That's what I'm doing with Bugsnax. That's the game that I'm reviewing
Okay,
for Geeks Under Grace this month. Bugsnax came out in 2020. It's a pretty short game. You can probably beat the whole thing in like 10, 8-10 hours. That's
okay.
perfect for Game Pass to me because you install it, you play through it, and you're done. It's not then you don't have the regret of I just spent $40 on a game I'm done with. Like it's nice because it's these bite-sized experiences. If you're gonna pay $60 for a game, you want something like a Guardians of the Galaxy or a Final Fantasy VII
Yeah,
or an Elden Ring, like those kinds of experiences. You don't want to pay $50 for a game you can beat in 5 hours. So
exactly.
I think games like that are perfect for streaming services. And honestly, if Game Pass and PS Plus went the route of offering more variety of these shorter indie experiences, that might solve the because a lot of people are worried that we're gonna get into a Spotify
Okay.
basically Spotify market for games where nobody buys games.
Yeah,
If they went more along the lines of these shorter experiences that you download real quick and then you're done with, that might solve that problem and keep the big releases purchase only.
so like how PlayStation had the indie games, because PlayStation had PlayStation Now, and it was a lot
Yeah,
more of the indie games, the shorter games.
which is what
But
they're keeping
well,
too
yeah,
with
yeah,
yeah.
because that includes, and then the premium even goes a step further, and it adds 340 classic games from PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and PSP.
PSP games, that's incredible actually, because PSP had some hidden gems. Patapon, solid game.
See, I was so interested in the DS, the Nintendo DS,
Oh, I
that
love the
I didn't.
DS.
Yeah, so my first thing was a 3DS.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
yep, so I got the 3DS. But I was so like wanting that I didn't even care about the PSP.
I still
So
have my
which I
3DS.
kind of
Okay. I will say I have my 3DS, but the PSPs are currently sitting at my parents' house collecting dust. So maybe this is saying something. I love my 3DS, but the virtual console is dying.
yeah.
I use this thing to play through Oracle of Ages and Seasons and the original Legend of Zelda and a bunch of other VC games, and they're shutting it down, which is a
Aw.
crying shame. I just turned it on. I got to turn it off. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I heard it. I heard it. Do the
Yeah.
whole doo doo.
But anyway, yeah.
Um,
So PSP games actually will be interesting to see on PS5. It's in a way, this sounds like the deluxe tier or whatever the highest tier has a leg up on Game Pass because of the classics. Now, Game Pass has some classics, but
it has some
basically it's just
Xbox
like
games.
It's got like Banjo Kazooie and Tooie,
Yeah.
and most of the rare stuff,
Now
rare published stuff is older, but
I'm gonna be a little controversial here. Do you think that it's gonna be too much? Because they so
Too much content or too much money?
Too much content. So Netflix and all other like movie streaming services had have done research, and they said that if someone does not pick, a movie or something like that within the first 3 minutes of being on the app, the chances of them not watching a movie on that app raised by like 80%, and them going somewhere else. So now, my big thing with Game Passing, because I have Game Pass, I actually have the Halo. You can see it, Halo Edition Xbox.
Yeah.
There's so many games, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's my big thing. And so I'll be going through and I'll be looking at games, and I don't know which ones are good. I don't know like if I should waste, and now I'm looking at, if I had still had my PlayStation 5, 400 games. What am I going to do with 400 games?
400
And then
games,
an additional
an additional 340.
740 games total. 740 games total. So you have, 2 hours to sit down and play a game. How are you going to choose?
I actually ran into this problem when I used my free trial of PS Now, because I was like, oh, there's a bunch of classic games. I love classic games. The PS2 GameCube era, that's like my jam. And I sat down and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Help. And I downloaded like 8 games and didn't play any of them. And then the trial ended and I was like, ah! So,
really quickly, Robert, to answer your question, I go to bed at 9:30 now. So I good.
Yay.
But thank you for being concerned.
I think you're right, actually. I think they might. Now, granted, it's not saying that all of those will be available at the same time. It says up to 400 games. So they might do like a Game Pass thing where they release like 50 at a time, and then those 50 go away and then another 50 come in. Maybe.
So like a rotation?
Don't know. Maybe a rotation. I don't know. Because you're right.
How they're gonna do it.
If they do it all at once, I think people are gonna just get overwhelmed. That's a lot. That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be. No, I will say, some like I would be really excited for some of the PlayStation 2 games. So like if they brought back the original Battlefronts, like Battlefront 1 and 2, they brought those.
Wait, those aren't EA, are they? And the new ones are.
The
old ones?
The new ones are EA, but the old ones are not. I don't think. Somebody help us out here.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
Original Battlefront publisher LucasArts.
So they might. So I know that PlayStation released like Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Outcast 1 and 2. So it has, and those came out in like 1998 is when Academy came out.
Well,
and I love those games. And then PlayStation is where the original Battlefronts were on. If they will, okay, I'm just gonna say this: Sony, if you don't release the original, Battlefronts, you are dropping the ball majorly.
Well, but okay, they weren't PlayStation exclusives, weren't they? Also on Xbox?
No, as far as I know, they were.
They were PlayStation exclusives.
I'm pretty sure
Original
they weren't
PlayStation platforms. Let's see what it was on. Yeah, it was on Xbox.
It was on Xbox?
Yeah, 2004. It was on mobile? I'm sorry, what?
What?
It says it was on Windows, PS2, Xbox, Macintosh, and mobile phone. What? It released before the iPhone. How was it mobile?
Are you sure that's right?
Okay, this is Wikipedia, so
yeah.
Who knows? I'm gonna look. All right, I'm gonna look this up. Original Battlefront mobile phone, but it was cross-platform, so they might not.
Okay. They might not have it.
Mobile Squadrons. Yeah, it. Wait, when was this released? 2009.
Zeal doesn't believe without a deal, Sony can use them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that EA took it over, and I don't think they're gonna be able to get it back.
Man.
Well, we're talking about EA a little bit later, so I don't know.
Maybe.
So yeah, I wouldn't count on Battlefront, but I mean, maybe we'll see like Jack and Daxter. Those are fantastic
Well,
games.
Jack and Dexter is already on PlayStation or you can buy them on PS5.
Right,
Now I
but
don't know if they're on Game Pass or
yeah,
well,
but if it'll come
PlayStation.
onto
Yeah.
the service, I had the Jack and Daxter collection for PS3, and it was a lot of fun. I played through most of the first game, then I
Okay.
lost interest.
Do you? This is gonna kind of like be like a throwback because I think it was on the original PlayStation, and it would be really cool to see it on this. Have you ever heard of the game 40 Winks?
Yes.
40 Winks. I used to love that game.
Well,
And
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. What were you saying?
The reason I know about that is because it actually made headlines a couple years ago because it had a PS1 version and it was supposed to
Yeah.
have an N64 version, but that version got canceled because of
Okay.
like some studio problems. There's a studio that bought the rights, got the ROM, and published a physical N64 cart just a couple years ago of 40 Winks. You
Really?
could order a physical N64 cartridge of 40 Winks in like 2020 or 2019 or something,
What was it
which is
playable?
yeah, no, it's the ROM. Like they produced
Wow.
the game just like they would if it had come out in like 96. So
Okay.
I have heard of 40 Winks. That's why.
Yep. So there was this one part in the game, and this is I don't know if it was a glitch, but I remember this specifically. You could switch between the brother and the sister and go into
Mhm.
levels. Well, there were certain areas that only the girl could go and only the guy could go, and
Right.
they were like there was like a guy's bathroom or gym room or girl's bathroom, and there was a wink in there, and it was in the girl only section of it, but you couldn't get there with the girl because the brother had the double jump, and there was a certain point that you had to double jump to get to the area, and then double jump to get onto the platform, and you couldn't get up there as the sister. Um, so I always got 39 winks. I could never get the 40th because I couldn't get
Weird.
into the area. I didn't know how. Didn't know how.
Hmm.
So
Well, you know what?
first rage quit. First
Maybe
game
they
rage
will
quit.
release it and you will be able to fulfill your childhood dream of getting all 40 winks.
There we go. There we go. Because
All
there was a
right.
cool ending with a teddy bear, and yeah, so
Hmm.
it was.
I
Yeah,
doubt I doubt that will be coming, but
I know. I
one
know.
can dream.
One can dream.
All right, real quick, we're gonna move on to
Yup.
Capcom, which is not someone we normally talk about. This is videogameschronicle.com. Jordan Midler. Capcom suggests it could revive some of its dormant game series. The company's first new IP in a decade, Pragmata, is due to release next year. Capcom has suggested during a new investor relations Q&A that it could revive some of its dormant game series. Formed in 1983, Capcom has one of the largest libraries of original IP in all of gaming. However, while Block what?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When you said formed in 1983, I um uh I it wasn't. There's a song that has Jeffrey Bezos, and it's like I think it's like 1963 or something, but the 83. I just instantly started singing the song. Yep. So I'll have to send it to you. It's anyway. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
Neil, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me with the Megaman comments. Give me a second, okay? All right. Formed in 1983, Capcom has one of the largest libraries of original IP in all of gaming. However, while blockbuster franchises like Resident Evil continue to receive new iterations as well as remakes of classic games, franchises such as Lost Planet, Power Stone, and Okami haven't seen new entries in many years. When asked specifically what plans the company has for its dormant IP, Capcom responded, quote, "We are currently putting together plans for our pipeline based on demand data from the market," unquote. It continued, quote, "Going forward, we will continue to take customers' wishes into consideration while devising our title lineup," unquote. Hideki Kamiya directed Beat 'em Up Beautiful Joe. Sorry. Hideki Kamiya directed Beat 'em Up Beautiful Joe had a last had a new game in 2005. Darkstalkers, a perennially popular fighting game franchise with hardcore fans, hasn't had a new entry, not including remakes or remasters, since 1997. In 2020, Capcom announced Pragmata, its first original franchise in a decade. Pragmata will be Capcom's first completely new IP made for consoles and released worldwide since 2012's Dragon's Dogma. 2016's Megami Meguri was a Japan-only release. Originally scheduled to be released in 2022, the game was delayed until 2023 in order to ensure the game, quote, to ensure it will be an unforgettable adventure, unquote. So, it seems like they're really focusing on their new IP, but hey, Dom, thanks for joining. They're right, though. Capcom's got a huge library, namely Megaman. That's like their big cash cow. At least it was for a while. I think the last mainline release was Mega Man 11 back in like 2017, 2018. We haven't heard anything from Mega Man since then. Street Fighter is also Capcom. Wait. Yes. Yeah, Street Fighter's Capcom. I don't know if we've had anything since. I mean, they've released Street Fighter 5 like 8 times. Street Fighter 5 is the Skyrim of fighting games. And Okami. We had Okami Den for DS a long time ago. But yeah, Mega Man's a big one. I think if they made, what's weird about Capcom and Mega Man is the fact that everyone seems to go nuts over Mega Man, and yet they don't ever do anything with Mega Man. Ever. They did for a while. They had a ton of spin-offs. They had the Legends series, they had Mega Man X, they had the originals Mega Mans, they had Mega Man Battle Network. Like, it was a ton. They even made an RPG, a tactical RPG for the GameCube and PS1, PS2, Mega Man X Command Mission, which is one of my personal favorite cult classic games. Nobody's ever heard of this game. It's Mega Man X, and it's a lot of fun. It's super cheesy, anime is all get out, but actually a decent RPG. Other than that, I've never been a huge Mega Man fan. It's too hard. I don't love the Twitch platformers.
Hold on. I'm looking something up because
what are you talking about? Are you talking about Command Mission, or are you talking about the rest of the stuff? Have you heard of this game? Is there someone else on this planet that's played this game? Hold on. I think I might have just found.
Hold on.
I think he might be my new best friend. Sorry, keep going, Aaron.
No, I'm looking up.
Yes, he knows it. Someone else knows it. It's super corny, but it's still so much fun. My brother and I quote Dr. Psyche all the time. That you'll never beat my evolved form.
Wait a second.
We say that all the time. What are you looking at, Aaron?
Was it
Sorry,
on
I'm
PlayStation
freaking out that
Mega Man X Collection? Is that what it is?
Mega Man X Collection came out for PS4 a while back, but that was just a re-release of all the old Mega Man X games. They did Mega Man 2. And they also did the stupid thing of there's 8 games. Oh, well, there's 11 games in Mega Man. I think there's 8 in Mega Man X, and they released it in 2 parts. You get part 1 and part 2. So the part 1 had 1 through 4, and then part 2 had 4 through 8. And I'm like, what? Why? Just release it all in one $50 package. But no, we got to do it in 2 so we can get more money out of people. It's stupid.
Okay, so according to this, Mega Man, the 1993 version is the version that I played.
Of what?
When I was Mega Man X.
Mega Man. So the original.
Yeah. So I played the original one.
That's the only Mega Man X I've ever played. Austin and I sat down one weekend and we beat the game. That's the only Mega Man game I've ever beaten. And we sat down and we beat the stupid thing. No, I don't know if he beat it. I gave up when we got to the last boss because they get hard, man. They get intense.
I don't know if we ever beat it. I remember playing it. I remember playing it. I don't remember if we ever beat it. I need to go back and finish some of the games because I'll start games and not. Right now, I'm working on Lego Star Wars.
I'm terrible at that. Anyway, I think if Capcom really wanted to, they could blow people's mind with Sigma is tough. Sigma is insane. Final boss of Mega Man X. If Capcom really leaned into it and brought back things like Beautiful Joe, Mega Man, maybe even Okami. I don't know if they'll bring back Okami. That was such a cult release. I don't think it's got enough mainstream appeal, but Mega Man does, and yet they don't ever do anything with it. So maybe we'll see. I don't know. They seemed really non-committal from those quotes. They're just like, well, we're looking at the market. I'm like, how do you know what the market wants? Clearly, you haven't been listening because people have been crying out for Megaman for a while.
Yeah.
But even Beautiful Joe has a pretty dedicated fan base. And the last thing we got, I think, was the Wonderful 101 for Wii U. So that was like 2013 or 14. And then
Man, I
nothing.
forgot about the Wii U.
Yeah, everyone does.
I forgot about the Wii U.
I just bought like 4 games for it for the virtual console yesterday because tomorrow is the last day. If you're watching live, tomorrow is the last day you can add funds to your Nintendo eShop account with a credit card. So
Did we
do
even
it.
say what today's date is?
No,
May 23rd.
it's May 23rd. Sorry, I forgot that's
23rd,
how we open
guys.
up. But yeah, no. So
Still no football.
there's a lot of really good releases and franchises and IPs that Capcom could really capitalize on. Time will tell if they actually take the opportunity. What's wrong with Zio? What do you mean you're trying to forget the Wii U? I love the Wii U. Okay, it was underrated.
Look, the Wii U has a special place in everybody's heart, but we all know that it was still better than the Xbox Connect. So, 360 Connect. So,
Josh wasn't here to say the wrong day. Yeah, so we just said no day at all instead. Thanks, Michaela.
No day at all. That is we are boycotting days.
The Wii U was the forgotten middle child of Nintendo consoles. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard it worked. It was never going to live up to the Wii. So, all right. You know what? Speaking of Nintendo, that's actually a really good segue. Real quick, I'm gonna drop these links in the chat real quick as we're going through them. So this is the Capcom one, and then our next one, Nintendo. Actually, I think this is a good Nintendo thing. This is a GND, a good Nintendo decision. Looks like Nintendo is ramping up its fight against cheaters. Ethan Gach on Kotaku.com. The Switch maker is patenting a new anti-cheat program ahead of Splatoon 3's launch. Nintendo is patenting. Wait, one second. I'm going to put this up here. Doink. Nintendo is patenting new tech to help catch cheaters in games like the eternally best-selling Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon 2. As video game companies across the industry try to clamp down on cheat software and other hacks that give players an unfair advantage using off-the-shelf solutions, Nintendo appears to be working on its own proprietary solutions to the problem. Quote, such cheating is egregiously prevalent where their gaming environment is extended to multiplayer gaming, particularly multiplayer gaming over the internet, unquote, Nintendo writes in a new filing with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office via OpAttack. Quote, in particular, users are able to modify software in a way that enables them to have advantages over other players on different systems across a multiplayer game, unquote. Nintendo's new tech would use something called, quote, code reuse, unquote, techniques to auto-generate attestation programs that detect whether a game has been modified. According to the filing, this new approach will make it easier for the company to remotely check if a player is running a modified version of a game, and also harder for players using hacked copies to fake running real ones. I have no idea how much more effective tech like this would be, or how it compares to the kernel access anti-cheat programs Call of Duty and other games use. But it's not surprising Nintendo is working on potentially novel solutions to the problem since it faces unique challenge when it comes to console hacking. Compared to the PS4 and Xbox One, Switch hacking has progressed very fast and is now an issue Nintendo has to deal with across lots of online games. Players occasionally flood Pokemon games with fake Pokemon. Some Splatoon players seemingly hacked opponents to climb their way up the leaderboard. Where Microsoft and Sony's consoles have traditionally been locked down from a security standpoint, jailbroken Switches have put Nintendo in a fundamentally different position. With Splatoon 3 just around the corner, the above patent could be a sign Nintendo is trying to find new ways to keep its online competitive games free of hackers and cheaters, at least until it finally releases a new console and resets the clock.
Okay, so now is it considered cheating? Because have you ever seen those exploits where the people will be running around on Mario Kart and then they'll jump over something and kind of glitch through the map and jump
I've never
to a different
seen
area?
that, but I would say that's cheating.
But it's kind of,
unless it's in the game. If it's an exploit in the game, that's
it's an exploit in the game. Like it's just so there's like, I don't remember the map, but I was watching it, and what the person did was, so he would drive forward and he would go to a certain wall and hit, and he would just jump, and he would jump through the wall. It would land him on a different piece of the map right around the corner for the finish line. So he just go and just keep doing that. And he would finish before anybody's done with their first lap.
Mushroom Gorge on Mario Kart Wii was infamous for that.
Okay.
Real quick plug. If y'all ever want to look at what Aaron is talking about, watch Summoning Salt's video on Mario Kart speedruns.
Yes.
Uh,
Yep.
that's what he's talking about. These people crack these games wide open and find these exploits.
Now, but is that
Oh
considered
no, Zeal is
cheating?
saying next week can we laugh at the disaster that is Overwatch 2? That's what we in the industry call a big oof.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No. But because yeah, there are just different things like that, and I know people have different sayings of cheating and hacking versus exploits, because it would be
Yeah.
really unfair for somebody who's exploiting. Like, okay, I'll use Josh has called me out on this a few times, so I'll call myself out on this. In Elden Ring, there was an exploit. The enemies would respawn. Well, if you go to this certain site of grace, you would shoot this giant dinosaur chicken. It would run off the edge, and it would give you almost 20,000 runes. So, and then you'd sit at the site of grace, it would respawn. You just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Um, and you use runes to level up, so you can level up pretty quickly. Now, I only used it just a little bit. I probably went from level 60 to maybe 120, but
you
it was an
that's you
exploit.
double. No, that's not a little bit. That's more than a little bit. That is doubling your rank via exploits.
So a dragon, it was a little bit different than a dragon. It literally, so it was it looked like a chicken that had big teeth. So it sounds like I'm describing a chicken
It's
a
the
dragon.
alien from Jimmy Neutron.
Okay, okay.
The Jimmy Neutron movie had like a giant chicken with teeth. I don't know how
Yeah.
we're talking about this. We were talking about cheating, but here we are.
Just a little bit, just a little bit of exploiting. Now, mind you, to make up for that, um, I didn't I didn't level up for a long time purposefully. I would
Gotcha.
just be careless with how I was exploring the map and stuff, or I would
Because it's
upgrade
the only penance
weapons
you
or
can
something.
do after getting
Yeah.
illegitimate gains.
Well, let's just put it this way: Josh didn't do the exploit, and before he surpassed me. So he caught up and surpassed me legitimately before I hit level 130. So it took a while for me to
Okay.
level up. So I made recompense, but
Yeah.
there are people now who are there's an exploit that you can duplicate the runes
Yeah.
and you can like max out on them, and it's a flaw in the game. It's not really hacking. So how are they going to be able to tell? Like, and obviously I know that's still considered. People will say that's still unfair for the people who want
I
to play it
I think using exploits
fairly.
while being unsportsmanlike is not necessarily unfair because you're still playing the game.
Yeah,
One could make the argument that competitive melee uses exploits. There some of the smash techniques used in professional Smash Brothers, specifically melee, use things that weren't intentionally programmed into the game. Things like wave dashing, L canceling. Some of them, I think Sakurai has said that they were in there for advanced players. They just didn't tell anybody. Some of the other stuff I feel like is just kind of cracks in the programming that people have made use of.
yeah,
Um, I think if everybody's the thing about exploits is they are theoretically achievable by anybody playing the game if you practice enough. If you practiced enough, you could get that exploit on Mushroom Gorge down, and then it's all down to shaving off seconds off of that. The
yeah.
difference between that and cheating is you have to be able to hack and modify your Switch or just download homebrew programs, and that gives you an unfair advantage over other people who are playing it vanilla. And that I think is what it sounds like Nintendo is trying to crack down on.
Okay.
um, it seems very interesting that they're using something completely proprietary, whereas, as they mentioned, a lot of other companies use off the shelf sort of programs that they just kind of install. Leave it to Nintendo to find weird and novel ways to do things. Nintendo always excels at doing things in ways that don't make sense, but it also sounds
I'm
like
just thinking of
they
poor
need
some
their own
poor.
way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of some poor 10-year-old who decides to do a weird little bunny hop over a wall and all of a sudden
I
he gets banned.
I
So
don't think it's going after people. I think from the sound of it, it's looking at ways that you've modified your Switch's
okay.
code rather
Okay,
than just
that
playing the
that
game
makes
in
more
weird
sense. That
ways.
makes more sense.
I don't think it's going to punish people who are exploiting.
Okay.
I would certainly hope not, because like if you glitch a game, like you don't even have to try to glitch some games. Like it just happens. So Nintendo games are usually pretty polished, but stuff always slips through the cracks. So it's nice to see that they're actually trying to take action against this. I didn't know Switch hacking was that. I knew Switch modding was a big deal. I know a lot of people were modding their Switch to be able to play like backwards compatible games or custom ROMs or that sort of thing. I knew that was
Yeah.
happening. I didn't know people were hacking that much online. So it's good to see that they're actually trying to take an innovative approach, which hopefully won't be that easy to counteract. All
Well,
right, we've
that's
been
what.
going for a good hour. We
Yeah.
got one more thing to talk about, and then we're gonna
Yes.
wrap it up here because we've been going crazy. So go ahead, Aaron, get started. I'll leave this to you.
Okay. So, um, apparently EA is out there seeing that everybody else is getting bought up, and they're like, "Hey, you're forgetting about me. I'm over here." Um. So,
Oh, sorry, real quick before we move on, Zeal. It almost definitely. Well, it depends on this if the speedruns use exploits or not. Most speedruns, if you're doing a task, a tool assisted speedrun, I assume that will get affected. But again, those usually aren't online. Speedrunning is usually for single player games. So this sounds like it's mostly online stuff. But if they're just using exploits, hopefully it won't affect it. Anyway, he was asking if it would affect speedrunning. I don't think it will.
yeah. Um. Sorry, hold on. I
Go
lost
ahead.
my place. Okay.
Oh.
With the recent rush of consolidations in the gaming world, it might be easy to forget the original masters of the studio, Electronic Arts. In an ironic twist, a new report from Dylan Byers of an independent publication, Puck, claims that EA, which has a market cap of 36 billion, has been seeking acquisition by a larger, by an even larger company. Wow, I can speak. And was almost bought by NBC Universal.
Oh.
That would be interesting. So, according to reports, Brian Roberts, CEO of NBC Universal parent company Comcast, approached EA's CEO, Andrew Wilson, with an offer to merge EA and NBC Universal, leaving Wilson in charge of the combination entirely. Negotiations continued over a period of several weeks before breaking down over questions over price and merging entities in the final form. The report goes on to note that EA has also discussed the possibility of an acquisition with Disney, Apple, and Amazon, with Disney's talk focusing on EA Sports franchise and their potential synergy with ESPN, which he said, which I had no idea has been in Disney's subsidiary since 1996. So hold on. Disney's owned ESPN since 1996.
Apparently, I didn't know that until I read this article.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought that was a recent thing, but no.
Yeah, so did I. EA also has a published high-profile adaptation of Disney-owned Star Wars series, a video game exclusive deal between the companies that expires next year. I did not know that. So
Oh,
EA's deal with Disney expires next year.
so
Aren't they opening like weren't they supposed to do a big massive open Star Wars game? EA no, that's
no,
Ubisoft.
no,
That's
that wasn't.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, that was Ubisoft. So
Ubisoft. Yeah. Ooh. Interesting.
Michaela is saying that Disney has owned ESPN for longer than she has been alive.
Yeah, longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, that's yeah. So hey, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see something come to the Sony thing after all. Anyway, continue.
Sorry, EA has a reputation of acquiring beloved developers and subsequently closing their doors, with PC gaming standbys like Origin Systems, creators of Ultima series, Westwood Studios, which developed the original Dune RTS games, meeting their ends under EA ownership. BioWare, creators of hit RPGs Mass Effect and Dragon Age, has also has had a concerningly rocky decade since being acquired by the company. Under it is unclear how the proposed mergers might affect the devs under EA's umbrella, and the focus of the talk seems to rest primarily on the company's lucrative sports franchise. Madden, the Madden machine continues to print money, but there is trouble in paradise. EA recently lost the rights to FIFA brand um, on its tentpole soccer franchise.
Yeah.
So
So
EA
it's
just lost FIFA.
yeah. So
That
this
the
right,
end of it.
sorry, this right here, I think is the crux of the issue, Robert. Nobody wants anything to do with EA because they keep ruining everything.
Yeah, it seems like it.
That
I
is
mean,
a true statement, my dude.
Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Rock. I mean, BioWare. Yeah.
EA is
So
famous for eating things and then pooping them out. um,
what if there was an EA Ubisoft merge? Because is Ubisoft owned by anybody right now?
no, Ubisoft is still independent. I'm pretty sure. Um, if anything, EA would buy Ubisoft. I don't think Ubisoft would. Oh, they messed up Dead Space
That's,
apparently.
uh,
Um,
hmm.
so it's interesting though. I don't. So EA doesn't look like they're looking to buy somebody. They're looking at
They could
being
be bought
bought.
out.
Ubisoft would not be the company. They're going for the big guys, like you said, Disney, Amazon, Apple.
Man,
Apple.
if Disney owns everything, I like.
I feel like Disney buying EA is like a bigger monster swallowing Godzilla. Like Godzilla is trashing all of these cities, and then like Galactus comes and eats Godzilla. That's what
Look,
we'd be
I
looking
mean,
at.
I'm a huge Disney fan. I mean, for Pete's sake, I have this sitting on my table right now. It's a Disney game. Like I
Yeah,
have, I love Disney, but the fact that they own just everything, it scares me.
I saw a chart of all of the things that Disney owns, and it freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a subreddit called r/a boring dystopia, and it's all about how we've just kind of waltzed our way into a dystopia without any fun thing like an apocalypse or anything like that. It's just like, oh, guess this is the world we live in now. And every time I think about Disney, I think about that subreddit because I'm just like, they're just kind of becoming by and large, which is weird because they made the movie about by and large, and they are by and large. They just casually
Just wanna.
own everything.
Yep. There's a TikToker that I've watched, and he does a voice impression of Mickey Mouse, and he kind of dresses up, and he acts like uh Thanos collecting the
Yes.
Infinity Stones, and each stone is represented by a different company.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
recently, the most recent one that he's going after, from what I've seen, is Nickelodeon, and it's held by uh, Dora, which I'll show you. There's a TikToker who does like weird Dora things, and it's like
Oh
a
dear.
weird murder. It's creepy. It's funny, but it's him versus her, and they're
Oh
trying to.
my.
Yeah, trying to. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. TikTok is an interesting thing.
I
That's a
try
whole
to
different
I try to
topic.
forget that TikTok is a thing. Yeah. I I think EA I don't know what to think about EA getting bought. EA is known as like the world's most hated company. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's going to shed a tear if they get bought. I
no.
honestly think it's just going to make things better probably for EA, or at the very least things will stay the same. If not, they'll get better. Um
Well, the big thing would be EA Sports with Madden,
yeah.
with them wanting people want them to bring back what is NCAA
A lot of people
just
want the Street series back, don't they?
yes, Street was awesome. Josh Josh had me play street football with him. That was fun. Um Yeah, I don't. I mean, let's keep. We'll keep an eye on that. Definitely
Yeah.
here quick.
So I'm not super up on studio acquisitions and the impacts they can have on the industry, but I think EA getting bought could just be good for everybody. They're
Yeah,
already kind of a terrible company. I don't want to see that if they get bought by somebody like Disney, Apple, or Amazon. I don't think we'll see anything from EA. That'll be weird. That'll be weird to see Disney enter the gaming sphere like that. Even weirder to see Amazon enter the gaming sphere like that.
yeah. So speaking of weird, and I know we're not gonna like dove into this, but maybe we can leave the link to it because this is a weird entering thing. And we'll just post the link.
Yeah.
So I'll type on it quick. Apparently, Xbox was approached first to be the owner of Spider-Man.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
that was
they turned down Marvel.
They messed up there.
Yes, they did. And apparently, when that happened, Activision replied, "Good luck finding your unicorn." And so they ended up with Sony.
Departing from Activision was also probably a great move. So
Well,
leave it to them.
yeah, that too.
So,
but definitely read that article because it was
interesting.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh, Spider-Man could have been an Xbox exclusive. Like that would have been weird. That would have been really weird. That would have been extremely weird. Yeah. But yeah, so definitely read that article. But
all right,
an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah, sorry guys, that was a long. I knew it was going to be a long one. With Aaron and me, we just always get on tangents.
I'm long-winded.
It's been fun. Sorry. No, it's not. I just think it's been fun. I think we have a good rapport, as they say.
Absolutely. Josh, I'm coming for your job. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Oops. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a blast having, honestly, seriously. I'm kind of, as much as I miss doing stuff in the studio, it's nice having the live interaction. I never would have found out that somebody else knows that Megaman X Command Mission exists if we weren't doing it live. So seriously, guys, thank you so much for joining us every week. It just makes this so much fun to get to hang out with you guys, talk about stupid stuff. Not so stupid stuff sometimes. Sometimes we get deep, but we try not to get it too deep. It's just a nice weekly catch up, recap, hangout session. So be sure to keep joining us.
Up with me every once in a while.
Be sure to keep tuning in. Invite your friends.
Oh yeah.
We'd like to have get the group going as big as we can. It's always a blast to have you guys. So thanks for joining. Thanks for supporting us and listening. So drink lots of coffee, play lots of games. We will talk to you next week.
Don't stay up all night.
I'm going to be staying up all night because I drank a whole mug of coffee. So
I will probably be playing Lego Star Wars for a little bit after this. So I just got that game. So
bye, everybody.
Right. See you guys.
Have a good day. We'll see you around.
Peace.